Our downfall, the thing I didn't prepare for that I really was trying to start preparing for that probably should have been the first prep, was I'm going to just document some things that I learned from this experience and hopefully help myself better prepare, because here in Texas, we don't get this winter weather that often. The last time was in 2011 and it's now 2021. So I forget some things in between and what some things are that I need to prepare for. And I just want to kind of document that here for next time, for myself and for you guys. What I wanted to go over though is the SnowPocalypse 2011 and 2021. We called it a SnowPocalypse in 2011. I'm not sure what it's called now in 2021. The items that I think I prepped really well. And then I also want to go through some items that I didn't think I prepped so well and some other things I want to be prepared for next time. I'll also be comparing 2011 and 2021 as far as how we prepped and the things that happened last time that didn't happen this time. So as of this time, one of the things I knew is that power would be unreliable. And this is a common thing, especially in the prepper world, that power can and will go out. But we also bought a generator, so we are prepared should the power go out to have power. It's propane powered and it's gas powered. But last time in 2011 when the snowpocalypse hit, we did not have a generator. So we took all of our food out of the freezer and put it in tubs and put it outside, and that kept our food safe, and it also helped me clean out the freezer, which was an added bonus. And in 2011, when the power went out, we had wood stacked up. We were able to cook and clean and warm up our house and everything. Well, not warm up our house. We had to do the fireplace for that. But for the gas, we had plenty of gas and it wasn't an issue. And this time around it was. And I'll explain to you about that in a little bit. The fireplace is important. And then also having gas as far as 2021, we did have enough pressure in order to cook our food on top of the stove, but we did not have enough pressure to pressurize our water heater. Our tankless water heater, which we just got installed, we had to move it outside the house to allow for more storage space for our food inside and our prepping supplies inside. So we moved our tankless water heater outside, also to avoid a flood, because when that broke a couple years ago, it flooded our entire bottom floor. So we moved the tankless water heater, which is gas, outside. And apparently when the gas is not at full pressure, the water heater doesn't work, which is definitely not something I knew, and definitely not something that I expected. So luckily we are very prepared. We camp all the time, so we were able to boil water on the stove. That's not a big deal. But that is something that it did not come back on. The hot water did not come back on until it warmed up on the last days. So in the night it froze again, and the gas lines went out again, so we weren't able to heat up our water again. So but it came right back on when it warmed up. So that's something to be aware of if you're looking at getting a tankless water heater, and something that we were unaware of, especially because it mainly has to do with the gas lines not being able to be pressurized enough in order to use the water heater. The gas stovetop requires a lot less pressure in the gas lines, so we were able to cook all of our food on the oven and the stovetop. So that was a bonus, and we definitely love cooking over gas anyway. It's a preference for us. But even if it wasn't, that would definitely be a prepper survival tool that we would want to look for in a house, or to upgrade the appliance as soon as possible, which is what we ended up doing a couple years ago. Another thing that we learned is about Pex Plumbing. Now, I'm very used to working with PVC. However, I was not prepared for Pex. When they put in our water heater outside, I had no idea that that's even what they did, but they separated at the ends on one end. And we're resourceful enough that we had some hose clamps, the little circular ones where you tighten it and it just tightens this way. So we were able to put it on there. We cut off the old one because we couldn't get the copper ring off. And then we just put one of those on and cinched it down on it real tight. And it's still holding this day. For 2021, I learned about Pex. And so now we're going to go ahead and get the Pex supplies to repair the temporary fix that we have on there, and it's a necessary skill for us to have anyway. We built a tiny home in our backyard, and we're gonna have to start putting the plumbing in it anyway, and we were talking about putting Pex in it. I just didn't know what that looked like. So now we're gonna go ahead and repair that for ourselves, and that'll be a great learning experience. So even if it does freeze, it's not a big deal. They're gonna flex and not break. So we were mostly prepared for everything, and I thought we did a really good job. We have plenty of food. Now, our downfall, the thing I didn't prepare for that I really was trying to start preparing for that probably should have been the first prep, was water. Water is something you cannot live without for more than 3 days, and I know this, and as a prepper, I should know better, but I didn't plan. That's definitely one of our downfalls, and one of our weaknesses is water. I did calculate that we had all of the water that we had available with the gallon jugs. We have a Berkey water filter, which is crucial. I highly recommend getting a Berkey. And so that was filled up. I do have some glass containers or bottles available with our drinking water in it, just in case we were to run short on that. So I did calculate for our family of 4. I actually calculated it's 1 gallon per person per day, and then half of a gallon per dog per day. And so I calculated it'd probably be about 3 days worth if I were to stretch it with my glass bottles. Water can go out at any time without notice. And that's definitely something that's scary if you're not prepared for, because you cannot live without water. So another one of our downfalls is that we have no bathtub water storage, which I thought we did. That was definitely something that I was relying on in situations like this. Anytime there's any kind of hurricane, tornado warning, or blackout type issue, electric power issue, any kind of warning whatsoever, the first thing that we always try to do is fill up one of our bathtubs with water so that we can have enough water to flush the toilets and to refill our Berkey should we need it. Now, one of the downsides that we have is that our plugs in our bathrooms and our tubs do not work that well, that it slowly started draining out. So like within 12 to 24 hours, we had no water in there anymore. We just had like maybe an inch or two, and it was completely filled up at the beginning, and we hadn't used any of it except for maybe like once or twice to flush the toilet. So our downfall was our water supply storage. So I went around and was quickly filling up the trash can, the pots, any mixing bowls. We also had a water cooler or an ice cooler as well that we used for camping. And I filled all those up and put them in the bathtub just in case they happened to leak. And those actually helped with flushing the toilet and everything until we could get the water turned back on. So one of the things I definitely want to get in the future for our water shortage issues is water bricks. Now, you don't want to get a giant thing of water because that's going to be really heavy to lift. Each pound or each gallon of water, I want to say is about 8 pounds if I have that right. You're not going to want to lift 155 pounds or a 55-gallon drum of water. You're not even going to be physically able to do that. So it's better to get the water bricks, and those are about 3.5 gallons in each water brick, I want to say. I'd have to double check that for you, but I'm going to go ahead and link in the description what water bricks we're going to get, and there's a big discount when you get a bunch of them, and so we're probably going to get 10. I think we need a little under 10 in order to give us, and maybe less than 10, in order to give us a 10-day supply of water. The next thing we're going to get is a water bladder to fill up the water in the bathtub. Then we don't have to worry about the drain issue, so I'll link to the description for those as well. Like and subscribe if you're interested in following me on my journey.